Hey, what's up? Welcome everybody. So in this video, we'll be learning about Laravel. So this will be targeted toward the beginner user who are just going to start this new framework for first time. So we'll be covering all the basics, pretty much everything to get you started with this framework in this one video. So let's get started. So first thing, we need to install Laravel. So you can do it in a couple of ways. One through Composer, another is you need to install the Laravel installer. So let's talk about what environment I use. I use Laragon for my web server. Just search for Laragon and install it. It's quite easy. So it will provide us everything you require, like terminal, database, like if you need to, it provides IDSQL as its database manager, and you can go to root from here. All set up. So first thing we want to do is we want to install Laravel. So I recommend you install Laravel installer. Then after installing that, you can just do Laravel. You have access to Laravel command, and you can do Laravel new and name of project. Another way is simply you can pull it through Composer. It is a little bit slower, but it will work. Okay, so let's start by installing it in our root. So it will be inside Laragon www. Right click and open it in terminal. So whatever terminal you use, Windows terminal is totally fine. Okay, after you open terminal, you can execute Laravel new task manager. Okay, once that is done installing, so we can open it up in whatever editor you like. So I use VS Code. You can see the task manager folder here. So let's open up in code. So we'll cd into task manager, code, open. So that will open up this project in code. So you can manually open it up whatever way you like. So let's take a look at this folder structure. You got this by default. So app folder will contain all of your application's core code. So bootstrap means it contains code that will start up your application. So it will load up everything that is required while starting your application. Config, as the name says, it contains configuration of our application. Database contains database related. So we are just going through it to take a bird eye view of it. Don't worry about it, we'll cover everything later on. So routes contain all of our routes, and another important file is .env, where our environment variable or our all database related or any connection related code will be here. So let's get started by creating our first page or first page so that we can see something in our browser. Also, first let's open this project in our browser, how it looks. So there are a couple of ways you can load this up. So let's clean this up. So you are inside this folder and you can do php artisan serve. So this will open up this development server at this location, and you can directly visit that page. So it is the first page after you install Laravel. So another way, since if you are using this Laragon, since our project is inside root task manager, it will automatically create a virtual host for us. So let's restart this to take that effect. And now start all. It will say, it will ask us for administrator permission, and then it will create a virtual host for us. You can see that in settings it will if auto virtual host is ticked, it will create a folder name .taste. So let's try that out, minimize it. So our folder name is task manager .taste. So this Google Chrome might open up on this search results, but you can click here, or you can type HTTP. So as you can see, we see same page. So advantage of using this server is we have access to many other environment, more control over it. So it is more powerful than just doing PHP artisan serve. Okay, so this is the first phase, and now let's switch back to our code. So you can create entire application in Laravel with just one file. So that file is web.php. So here you can see when we go to home page, this page, so it is loading up this view, welcome view. So welcome, this view is like a page in Laravel, so we call it view. So that view welcome is will be inside resources, here resources, views. So this is the model MVC design pattern, where all model will be inside in separate class. This view will be separate and controller will be separate. So we separate all our HTML in separate file, then just mixing it up with PHP. So this is the welcome page. You can change whatever it looks here. So Laravel 2018, save it, then again refresh. Okay, it changes this title. We can change the text as well. 2018. There we go. So let's go back to our routes, web.php. So don't worry about these other routes, just web route. This web.php file contains all your web related routes. So let's create any other route get, and we'll define the name of route or name of URL in your plain PHP application. So function, so inside this function we'll write return this is about page. So now let's visit about. Okay, so this is about page. So if you want, you can create a simple application with these all routes. You can create route and you can load a view, but that is not what this framework is made for. So this leads us to another main component of Laravel, that is controller. So all this code from here to here, we can put this in controller. So this will what the benefit of that is, it will just manage our code and it will make us make it look a little bit cleaner. So there are other advantages you'll see as we go along. So what we can do is we can create a new controller. Okay, since we are building a task manager application, let's start by building the route for that. So if someone visits /task URL, it should see all tasks. Okay, so this is not what we want. This is just simple string. We want some kind of page. So instead we'll load up view. So we'll get back to controller in a moment. So controller is where we'll manage all our HTTP related or all these kind of code. So return view task. So we'll create a new file here called task.blade.php. So you can see here Blade. So it is the templating engine that Laravel uses to display all views. So this is the task. We'll create a simple HTML page. Tasks. So here we'll load Bootstrap 3 CDNs. Okay, now let's refresh the page. Yeah, here we can see task 1. Okay, so we can see task title. So this is the Bootstrap component. So we can create as many tasks as we want, like this. Task title 2, task title 3. Okay, so this is this page displays all of our tasks. Okay, so let's go back to our web.php. So here we are just displaying tasks. So in real life, we want to pull all our tasks from DB. We need to pull all tasks from DB. So if it is we might need to pull other data related tasks like users, and then we need to pass that data to this view so that we can display this task here. So as you can see, if the project grows, it is very inconvenient and dirty to write all of these in this routes file. So that's why we write all this related code in controller. So what we will do is we will create a new controller where we'll be putting all this code. So let's create a new controller. So open up your terminal. So you can open up from here if you use VS Code integrated terminal. And there is command for that. So PHP artisan make controller. Okay, sorry. We need to cd into this. Okay, PHP artisan make controller and the name of controller. So we'll call it tasks controller. Okay, so controller created successfully. Let's open that up. So that just created controller will be inside app http controllers and task controller. So here we'll make a new method. So you can create new method, public function, and I will call it index. And I will do whatever we do here in that controller. So I will copy this into our task controller. So this is just comment, we can ignore it. So we load up this view task, and then we need to get rid of this whole function, delete it, and then we need to put that controller name. So tasks controller and then method name index. Okay, so this is much cleaner than doing that. So it will do same thing. Let's confirm that. There we go. You can also create controller just like this for this route as well, but just leave that. We're not doing much there. Okay, similarly you can create other route like this. So task, so same thing, like if you want a task to show single task, you can do task single, and then you can define another method single into this task controller, new method single, and then return view, another view, single view, just like that. Okay, so this is just an example for now. Okay, so next thing, we are just displaying this static tasks. We are not pulling anything from database. So next we'll set up database and pull all the tasks from there. Okay, so let's quickly go to this task.blade view. We'll just add navigation. Just add bootstrap nav. So we'll just use basic navbar, tasks, create task. Okay, so let's see how it looks. Yeah, not bad. Okay, let's create another link like about, and let's go to web.php and let's create another route for about page. About, we'll just return a string for now. This is about page. Okay, so this is task page, this is about page. So we can put that link here in our tasks.blade and here. Yeah, you can simply put link like that. Or what you can do is you can name this route. So you can give a name to this route like this. So name about, and then in your task.blade you can just, instead of /about, what you can do is you can give it name like this, route, and then about. So this will take you to about page. So you might be thinking, instead of just giving about, why this long kind of thing? So in real application, in big application, you'll have long URL, or you have to remember that if you change URL in one place, you need to change everywhere. So giving it name will be easier. So you don't need to change in every instance. So it is better, good practice. Now it's time to set up database and pull everything from database. So to set up your database, first we need to create one. So in this Laravel you can create like this, go to database. So if you don't have any connection, so there will be one default connection. You need to specify the root username and then port number and then open. So I have some database by default. You can create, right click, create new, and we'll name it task manager. So there we go. So currently this database is empty. So now the way we set up this connection is from going to .env file. So this .env file, so this is just example, this is the real file. So here you see the connection name, MySQL, host name, same port. So database name is task manager and username is root for me, and I have no password set. So type your credentials here, username and password. Okay, so now the database is all set up. Now we need to create this tasks table. So So you can create from here manually, but Laravel allows us the better way. So open up terminal, and then we need to type a command to create that. So in Laravel uses migration to create those tables. So we can do PHP artisan make migration. So these are some commands that allows us to create the boilerplate for all those classes or pages. So make migration, then we need to supply the name of migration. You can give whatever name you want. So the basic convention is name it like this. So create tasks table. So just tell what you are creating. And you can supply here name. So create equals to tasks. So this is argument is optional. So what it will do is it will just already put put the table name by default. So let's see what it does. So enter. So it created tasks table. Let's open that up. So by the way, that will be inside database and then migrations. And here you have this users and password. These two migrations come by default. So let's see default one. So it says create user table with these fields, these columns. So let's see the newly created migration. So with this command, artisan command, it created these by default. And since we supplied the table name, it already put that name here. So the up function will create in database create these columns, and down function will drop this table. So if we want to just roll back our migration, or we want to undo what we just did, we can, this down method will be executed. Okay, here you can define the column name in your tasks table. So you have to do table and then the name, so string. So you have these methods like string, integer, what kind of field is that, so that is string. So we are making first name of tasks, or you can say title. Similarly, you can create another one called description. Okay, for now this is fine. So now in order to create this table in our just created database, what we need to do is PHP artisan. So I have this shortcut for that. So I made that alias PHP artisan make PHP artisan migrate. So you can do this to create that table. So it also created these other tables in database. So let's take a look, refresh. Okay, so it created this migration table, password resets, tasks, and users. So migration table contains all of these migration names, password reset. So this is what we just created. So title, description, and these are timestamps which Laravel creates by default. So this timestamps is creating that. Alright, so we just created our tasks table. So now let's talk about fetching data from that table. So we can for now just we can manually create some dummy data. Okay, so I just created these 5 dummy data in tasks. So now let's pull those data here. So currently these are all static data, not pulling from our database. So in order to pull that data from database, we pull that through using model. So if you go to app, inside app folder there is user.php. So this is the user model. So the model is So model, basically the model is the class which communicates with database. So it handles all of your logic in your application. So let's create another model for our tasks. So the way we do is from artisan command, php artisan make model, and name of model will be task. So just make it singular, task, and it will automatically connect with the table with name plural of this name. You can also override that. We'll see this in a moment. So php artisan make model tasks. So the tasks just created. There we go. So this task will connect to this task table by default. So this is task. There is plural of that task. So if you want to override that, what you can do is you need to define protected property table, and then name of table tasks. So Laravel does this by default. If your name is plural of that, you don't need to specify like this. So if you have any other name, you need to put that. So currently I'm commenting that. And let's go to our controller where we are showing our tasks. So now what I want to do is I want to pull all of my tasks from that table, tasks table. So the way we do is reference model tasks, and like this, all. So all will fetch all the tasks. So if you want to see this, you can die dump it here. So die dump will just stop the execution of code and displays the variable. So let's go there and let's refresh. Okay, it says app http controller tasks not found. So one thing that we miss quite a bit is specify the namespace. So namespace is just telling where this class is inside. So currently we are inside this controller namespace, so it is assuming that this task is also inside this folder, controllers, app http controllers folder. But we need to tell that this is not inside that controller, this is inside app /tasks \. So this is the full name of that. And let's go and try that once more. Okay, we need to put here as well. So from base, app, then task. So there we go. So we can see these 5 tasks. So these are inside this attributes. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so let's remove this line. And now we need to pass this data inside this view. So the way we do is there are a couple of ways we can do that. So we can do like this, compact, and then name of this tasks. So if we do like this, then inside this task variable we'll have access to this variable. So let's go inside tasks, tasks.blade, where we are displaying that dummy data. So let's try to die and dump that tasks variable here. Okay, there we go. So we can see that variable is accessible inside that view. And if we don't do that, we'll have error thrown, this undefined variable tasks. So this is one way to pass this task inside that. So what another way is, let's comment this out. You can pass it like this. So width, and then define an array. So what name you want to give? So data or tasks, and yeah, compact will do same thing. So this is the longer form of compact, this function. So if we do same and again refresh, yeah, we'll have variable. So these two are basically same thing. So you can say this is short form, this is long form. So if you want to pass any other form, any other data, you can pass it like here, other data. This is data or whatever you want to pass. So now with this variable name, you'll have access in your blade file. Okay, so for now, let's comment this out, and we are passing all tasks to our view. Okay, instead of just tie and dumping that, we'll show in this panel. So what we can do here is we'll loop through all those tasks. So let's close this terminal and close that as well. Okay, so you can see we are repeating that. We can use one and loop through this one panel to display all data. So the way we do is using loop. So we'll have for each loop in Laravel like this, add symbol, then for each task as task, and we need to end this for each, and we can display whatever we want here. So we'll display this panel. Let's see. So it currently just repeats that same data 5 times. So but we want this to be dynamic, so we want to two curly braces. So this is similar to PHP echo. So we are so everything inside this will be echoed. So task title. So remember, we keep the name title here, so we can access that as a property here. So now let's see in Chrome. Yeah, so we can see this title dynamically: complete homework, watch movie, play game, clean car. And similarly, we can output this description, task description. Okay, there we go. Okay, you just learned important concept, just passing data to views and displaying that. So you can you are successfully pulling all data from your database. Now we'll handle the creating part. So we just cover the reading part, so how to read data from database. Now we'll insert data to database by creating new task. Okay, to create new tasks, if someone clicks on this create task button, we'll take that user to new task page. Okay, so in order to do that, first we need to make a task create route. So we'll duplicate this one and then /create will take us to create. So it will hit the create method on task controller. So we need to make that on task controller. So task controller. So by the way, I use Control P and then go to task controller. So I find that easy. So it is a recommended method. So instead of just hunting here and going down into task controller, you can just go like this, task controller. Okay, so that's quick tip. So we'll create new method named create, and sorry about that, create, and then we'll load up new view. So return view. So you can name it create and then create a new file name create.blade. So what I find it easy is inside to put this inside task and then create. So what this means is this create view is inside task folder. So we need to create that task folder and then put create.blade inside that. So this is the good way to organize your views. Okay, so in views we'll create a new folder named tasks, so plural. Let's make it plural as well. And inside here tasks will I'll create a new file named create.blade.php. So by the way, we can put this task also inside that folder. For now, just leave it here. Okay, so create view will have similar view of this task.blade. So copy everything from there and put that inside create.blade, and we'll get rid of all these pulling data related code. Okay, so here we'll put create new task heading, and there we'll make new form. So vs3 form, there we go. Okay, so here we'll create our new form. So new bootstrap 3 form. So I have this snippet form. So we'll create a new form. So currently just leave it like that. So we'll give it a names title. So this name title should match the column name. So that is important. So let's see how it looks. Refresh, go to Chrome. Actually go to tasks/create. Okay, there we go. Okay, we need to update this link as well. So as you can see, there is nav bar in this nav bar, here in create. So we need to update that here as well, /task.create. So we are not using name for now. We can update like this later. So now that you know how to do that, you can do it yourself. So we need to update this link here, and also in tasks.blade. So as you can see, we are repeating code here, so which is not good practice. So what we can do is we can extract that in a separate parcel, and we can make a separate layout for that. So let's quickly do that instead of this repeating code in tasks and in create. So by the way, this layout will be same for any other page which we'll be creating, so it's not good to repeat this all the time. So what we can do is we can create a new file inside views named layout or master or whatever name you want to give it. So layout.blade.php. So this will contain the layout of our application, so which will contain the all necessary code like this HTML. Okay, so we'll collapse this. Okay, we'll copy this talk inside here, and inside our body we'll have this container and navbar. So we'll cut that out and put that inside layout. So container and nav will be inside there. Let's close this div. So we don't need body here. We don't need body HTML here. So we can get rid of any extra code here. Okay, there we go. So the now problem is, let's go to main task page. There we go. So this the layout is broken, although we can see all tasks pulling from database. So in order to put this inside that, what we can do is we can extend that main layout. So layout, yeah, you can put that inside layout folder, and then you can access that. So if you have multiple layout for your backend, front end, it is wiser to put that inside folder and then name it front layout, back layout. Then you can access like layout dot front. So currently we have layout file, it's okay. So now we are extending that layout, but still it will not you cannot see any this main difference here. So it is loading down and this is completely broken. So we want to tell that this bit of code should be inside after this nav. So after nav we want to load that bit of HTML. So the way we do in Laravel is by yielding. So this is name content. So you can give whatever name you want, this content or body or whatever you like. So yield content in your main layout file, and in your task file just wrap this bit of code inside that section. So section, so the name of section is content, which we just defined, and we need to end this section. There we go. Now let's refresh. There we go. So we got exactly what we want. So we can do same thing for our task as well, sorry, create task as well. So I'll just get rid of everything else but this form. So this form is the unique in this create blade. So I'll delete everything else, and then I'll put that inside section. So first we need to extend that layout file and then wrap that inside section, just what we just did. Same thing, content, end section, and then put whatever code is unique in this view. There we go. So now refresh. We can go to tasks, we can go to create tasks, sorry, tasks, create plural. I think we just messed up that. So now we want to update this link. So what we have to do is just go to one file and it will update everywhere, like tasks. So that is the benefit of that. We don't need to update in every file. There we go. Okay, so let's add other field for description. Okay, so let's create description field as well. Description. So this will be the text area. So the name will be description. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now we have form. We can input any task name, title, and submit, but it will not work currently because we are not sending this request anywhere. Okay, so now we need to direct this request to some page, like, so we can give it name like task. So this will be the post request to this URL /task. So let's create that URL. Let's go to web. So you might see there is already this task URL. So actually that is the get request, but from form we are getting a post request. So we need to define other route with post request. So now these two routes are different. These are not same. These two are completely different. So it will hit store. So it is storing that to database. That's why we need to define that. So let's go to task controller. So this is the workflow. Define the route, come here, define method, and all write the code related to that here. Okay, so store. And the way we access all those variable from form which we just input like this. So we need to this inject this request instance. So this class is just what this class is just doing is this is just grabbing those requests from form and making it available here. So you need to import that like this. So use eliminate HTTP requests. So you can just write inline like this, or what you can do alternatively is just remove it from here and use app task. So other way is fine. So you can do like this. There we go. Okay, first let's check how all variable looks by dumping this request. So there are a couple of ways to get these requests. We'll discuss it in a moment. Let's first understand what this will output. So if we let's refresh. If we input anything in form and try to submit, so it will say page not found, because what we need to do, one extra thing in Laravel is we need to specify the CSRF field. So this is the this is for security purpose. What you can do is CSRF field. So this is important. In every form you need to put this CSRF field, so it will know from where the request is coming. So what this does is, behind the scene, it will just match it with our app key, this key. It will make CSR field something like this, so it is encoding, so you don't need to worry about that just yet. So one thing to remember, always put this field in your form. So now if we try to submit same form again by refreshing, actually we need to put tasks. So now let's try to submit. Actually we need to refresh the page. So after making change, always refresh. So input some data, try to submit. So there we go, we get that request. So this is just a class. So the way we get this form data in our task controller is by doing request all. So all of the requests what a user typed in. So now if we try to refresh, we'll see these two. So this is the CSRF token which we defined it here, this token, and this is the title which we typed. So this is the description. So we got all user data like that. You can try to change that, and so dummy title, this is description, and now try to submit. Yeah, there we go, dummy title, description. So that is how we access that. So now we have access to all those requests, and we can insert that into database. So one way to access the request is like this, or what you can do is, if you don't want to inject that, if you don't like that, you can do like this. So dump request, like this function, global function, all. This will also do same thing. So whatever you prefer. So yeah, I prefer this way. Also you can access the individual data, like if you just want to access the title, you can do like this, request title. Yeah, this will just show title. You can also do like this, input title. So this is long form, does same thing. Request input title or just title. Same thing. So this is the shorthand form. Okay, so now that we have access to all the data which user inputs or user typed, now let's insert those data in our database. So first how we can do is, like, first new up this task class. So we don't need to just, if we are using that, we can just do like this. We don't need to do something like /app then tasks. No need to do that. Once you import that class up here, so always remember to import the class. So we new up this class, then we want to put the title of this task, the title that user gave us, request title. Same thing for description. So there are other ways to save data also, we'll discuss that in a moment. Save, and so after saving, we'll return data saved. Okay, so now let's try that out. Okay, I will give the name of title created by us, this just description. Now let's submit, and yeah, data saved. Now let's see that in our database. Refresh. Yeah, created by us, data just description, what we typed. So if we go to tasks page, yeah, we can see that here. Okay, so now we are successfully creating data, but one thing, let's autofill this. So I'm using this plugin to autofill this data. So data save. So we want to redirect user to that home page here. So if we want to do that after creating, what we can do is, let's go to code. So instead of returning this string, what we can do is return redirect to some URL, like this URL, tasks, like this URL. So now let's try. Go to create task, then input some data, submit. Yeah, it automatically redirects us there and created the data. Yeah, if you have the name defined in your web.php, so you can give the name to this that route, like this name. You can give whatever name. So this is all up to you. You can do like that, do like that. So the convention is tasks.indexPage. So index page of tasks, and you can give other name to this create view as well. And instead of defining this just URL, you have another option to reference the route name here. So route name will be task index. Yeah, that will do exactly same thing. Create task, some dummy task, submit. There we go. Okay, now this is how we create data in our database. So as I talked, there is another method to save the data. So instead of doing that, let's for instance just comment this out. So instead of doing that, what you can do is task create and then pass the array of field like this. Name, sorry, title, request title, description, like this. So create task using sort method, just do like that and submit. Okay, so this is the error you might get. So this is mass assignment exception. So what this mean is you cannot just put insert data in your database just like that. So what you need to do is you need to go to task. So it is just a Laravel protecting you. So in your task variable, you need to define which field are fillable, like which field can be filled by user, or which field can be filled. So basically it is protecting you from anyone else protecting some important column to be filled by user. So to protect that, what you can do is you can define inside this property name all the fillable data. So name, title is fillable, like title can be fillable by user. Similarly, description. So this is one way to define that. Another way is you can, instead of doing fillable, you can do guarded and this empty array. So what this means is I'm guarding nothing else, so just disable that functionality, that's fillable mass assignment functionality. So if we do that, let's go back and let's resubmit same data. Sorry, there is wrong, this typo, guarded, guarded, sorry about that. Let's resubmit this time. Yeah, it created sort method to create. There we go. Okay, so this is one option to create data. So doing this is same as doing like this. You can also do request all. So if you do request all, this will also work, but this time you need to define fillable. So which fields are fillable? It will only grab those fillable fields from request and then insert that. So let's try that again. Let's submit. There we go. Request create. So these are a couple of ways you can create data in your database. Okay, now that we can create data, let's handle how we can update or edit this data. So in order to edit, we need to put a small link here that will take us to edit page. So first let's do that. Let's go to task index page where we are showing all our tasks. So after this task title, I want to put a button or a link that will take us to task edit. Yeah, for now it is okay. Let's we'll deal with CSS later. Okay, now what we will do is we define this, we'll need to define this URL and then create a page for that. So same workflow, go to web PHP, define new route, task edit. So this time we want to pass the ID of task which we want to edit, so that is very important. So you can do it here, task ID. So this is the placeholder, you can put it whatever name you want to give, task ID. So this is curly braces, this is the way you do that. So task edit. So now okay, now we need to define this edit inside our task controller. Edit, we expect task ID from our URL, and then so we need to find the task which we want to edit. So the way we find new the task with some IDs, task find task ID, and then we need to pass that to view. So return view named task edit, and then we need to pass that compact. Okay, so now let's create that view. So that view will be similar to this create, so we'll duplicate that and name it as edit.plate and edit task, or you can do editing, and then we'll display the task name, sorry, task title. So everything else will be same, and action will be that, method will be post, but this time what we want to do is we want to pass the task ID as well. Okay, let's tackle that in a moment. So first let's see if that page is loading or not. So let's go to edit. So sorry, page you're looking could not be found. Okay, actually we forgot to specify the proper URL name. So task edit, and then we can do like this. task ID. Now let's refresh. Okay, there we go. Now we are loading task edit 1. It's tasks. Okay, every time we forgot to, so sorry, that was the typo in my end. So it is tasks.edit. So that is why we don't define URL like this. It is good practice to define, give it route name and do like that. So now we can editing, go to store. So we're editing this task. We can see that field. So let's give this editing task a name. Name will be task.edit. And let's go back to task index page or tasks.blade page. And instead of doing that, what we can do here is define route name. So route and name of will be task.edit, but we want to also pass the task ID, so we can pass that as another argument. So task ID. So if there are multiple arguments, you can wrap this inside array and define like that. So for now it will work. So let's confirm that if that is the correct link. Yes, it is. There we go. So now in this page we want to display the title and description of this editor, which in this task. To do that, let's go to task edit and name and value will be task title. Similarly for this as well. So since this is text area, task description. Now let's refresh this page. There we go. So we can see title. This will be inside double. There we go. So now we want to edit this. Go to another store, update it. So sorry. So now we want to update that. So for that we need to handle that in separate route. So action is tasks. So what we want to do is tasks edit, and we want to pass the task ID. So the method will be put method. So to update we use put. So we need to define csrf method and then define the method name here, put or patch. So this is the REST convention. You use put for updating, post for storing, get for fetching data. So you can do method put here, but I think browser that will not work. Browser won't support that. So just do like that and it will automatically update that. Sorry, no CSR method field. So let's check if it breaks anything. Let's inspect this form. So there we go. So input type hidden, method put. Okay, now we need to define this put method inside our web.php. So this will be the same as this, and we need to define it like put, and the method will be update tasks.update. So similarly for this we can give name task.create task.store. Okay, so now we have defined that. Let's make this update method and test that. update. It will also accept a request since this will be coming from form. Also, this contains the task ID. And let's dump all the request data. Alright, so let's see if it works. Okay, there we go. So now let's try to update this. Update it. Submit. There we go. We are getting updated one. So in order to update, you can do same thing like this. It will perfectly work. Or you can do update methods like this. Task update, and you can pass request all. So this will automatically update that. And same thing, you can return this redirect. You can redirect to home page. So let's try that once more. So submit. Okay, sorry about that. First we need to find the task. So first we need to find the task which we want to edit. Task equals to task find with the task ID. So with this task ID we find the task which we want to edit, and then we call the update method on that task. Update. Now if we refresh, yeah, update it, go to store, we can update anything. Okay, now that you are also updating the data correctly, now last part is to delete. So let's define that on, let's first define the route. So let's duplicate that. That will be delete request, delete. So as you can see, the tasks and the URL structure is same, but that is differentiated by these method name. So it will be destroy. So I'm just using the conventional name. You can give whatever name to them. Destroy. Let's go to task controller and define that destroy method. Same thing, destroy. And the way we destroy is, so there are two ways to destroy that. So first find the task with the task ID which we want to delete, and then call the delete method on that and return redirect to whatever page you want to do. So this is one way. Another way is to just call destroy method like this, task destroy, and then ID name, task ID. So this is short form, this is long form, whatever you prefer. Okay, so now let's put link. So one twist here, you cannot delete with link, you need to have the form to delete. So let's create that small form. So if you want, you can make a link, and if you want to delete using link, you just need to do get here, but the good practice is like this, delete. So we'll create a form pointing this to, I will give a route name, route task.destroy. So we want to destroy the task with this task ID, this one. So this is the action, and inside this form we need CSRF field, we need method field, since we are using delete request. And finally we need a button, that will be the submit button. Okay, we forgot to define method here, so method will be post. Okay, let's try to delete once more. There we go. So we completely deleted that. Let's delete this complete homework and play. That too got deleted. Let's delete this last one. Yeah, that got deleted as well. So yeah, this is how we delete, update, create and read data. So there are other thing, a lot of thing you need to learn. So there are validation, which we didn't covered, relationships, there are other thing. So basically what you learned here will get you started to explore all other things on your own. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye.